Over the last 12 months, there are over 30 suburbs in Brisbane that did more than 20% price growth. In fact, according to Domain, Brisbane is now the second most expensive city in Australia for the first time in our 200 plus year history. And what's crazy is it feels like the city is getting hotter and hotter and going from strength to strength. Not only is there phenomenal population growth and interstate migration at the moment, but there is infrastructure, jobs, a monster undersupply of property, and the coming 2032 Brisbane Olympic Games. Now, with over 30 suburbs in wider Brisbane going absolutely ballistic in the last 12 months, this has actually been the hardest video I've ever had to put together to narrow it down to 5 of Brisbane's hottest suburbs right now. Now, the first suburb I wanted to look at is called Rocklea, which is just 8 kilometers from Brisbane's CBD, and I think it's super cheap for 2 reasons. One, parts of the suburb have flooding related issues which nobody wants to go near, and other parts of the suburb have a good supply of units. But there are houses like this absolute little cracking 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home that did just sell for $740K. Now, I haven't done a housing commission search on it or a flooding search or had a look what's underneath the ground, but that is phenomenal buying, where this house in neighbouring suburbs could be selling for as much as $2 million plus right now. What's incredible about Rocklea is in the last 12 months, it grew by over 31%, and the average house price is at a super low $734,000. Obviously, with some types of property selling well below this and some selling millions of dollars above. Now, the second suburb that I wanted to talk about is Gaythorne, which is another inner city, extremely high quality, blue chip suburb of Brisbane, just 7 k's from the CBD. Now, in Gaythorne, you've got houses selling for between $1 million up to $3 million, and with everything in between. Now, why I wanted to show you this 4-bedroom brand new home that's just sold on 410 square meters for over $1.7 million is the fact that there's plenty of old, crappy looking homes in the suburb with much bigger pieces of land that you might be able to pick up today, ride through the growth cycle, and build 1 or 2 extremely high quality properties on it in the future around the time of the Olympic Games to make a significant profit. Now, according to Domain, in the last 12 months, Brisbane house prices on average went up by over 100K. But I know for a fact that some of the suburbs I've been buying for clients have literally gone up by as much as 200 grand in the last 3 months. On top of this, at the time of recording this video, Brisbane has just gone up for the 11th straight quarter in a row, which is part of the story fueling the consistency and the hype around the Brisbane market at the moment. On top of this, there was another great article in the Australian Financial Review where 7 different analysts looked at Brisbane between now and the 2032 Olympic Games. Now, some of these analysts are expecting average house price in Brisbane, which is currently sitting at just over $1 million, go to somewhere in the range of $1.4 million over the coming 6 years. On top of this, when I looked at the data between 1997 and 2003 around the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games, we saw that house prices went up by 97% in Sydney during that period, and rents almost doubled in the city. Now, while the Olympic Games is only a small part of the Brisbane story right now, the big piece is the chronic undersupply of dwellings and the fact that incomes have jumped so significantly in the last couple of years that they're now almost the highest in the entire country. Now, obviously, Brisbane isn't just one market, it's a collection of over 420 plus suburbs spread through 7 distinct different regions of the city. Now, while in today's video, I'm referring to some of the hottest suburbs in the last 12 months with great medium-term potential for future growth, there are about 16 suburbs in the city that are significantly undervalued at the moment that we help the extremely small number of clients that we take on each week at Pumped On Property to buy. Now, the third suburb I wanted to talk about today is one of my old faves. We used to buy a lot of property in this area between about 2015 and 2018 back in the good old days of Brizzy, and that is Chermside West, a suburb on the northern side of the city with phenomenal infrastructure just 9 k's from the CBD. Now, Chermside West has had an absolute run like some of these other suburbs in the last 12 months, growing by over 22%, and it's a market where you can go in with somewhere between $1 to $1.5 million and get phenomenal property. Now, the fourth suburb I wanted to talk about is a suburb called Birkdale, which is on the southeastern beaches of Brisbane, just 19 k's from the city. Now, Birkdale has been on an absolute tear over the last 12 months, going up by almost 30%, and is still one of my favorite suburbs despite the incredible year it's just had for future growth. Now, what I love about Birkdale is it's one of the closest beachside suburbs to the CBD of Brisbane, with phenomenal infrastructure and incredible schools like Ormiston College just around the corner. As you can see, houses like this incredible double-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1-car garage, brick and tile renovated home on a monster almost 800 square meter block can still be picked up for just $1,250,000. Now, when we compare this property this close to the city to the likes of Cronulla or Manly in Sydney, or to the likes of Brighton or the southeastern beaches of Melbourne, it is literally 30 cents in the dollar right now and significantly below the replacement value in current market. Now, the fifth and final suburb I wanted to talk about today is West Ipswich, a suburb just 32 k's from the CBD of Brisbane in one of the fastest growing corridors of all of Queensland right now. In fact, Ipswich is an area which is earmarked to be the second CBD of Brisbane in the future and is going to go through a massive gentrification over the next 15 years. Will look similar in the long term to something like Parramatta in Sydney. Now, what I love about West Ipswich is it not only went up over 23% in the last 12 months, but the average house price is just $630,000 today. Now, like every market in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, there's good pockets of the suburbs, there's pockets to avoid, there's properties with housing commission or flooding related issues, and there's properties that are completely sweet. But what I love about this particular property that just sold for $710K is it's a 4-bedroom home on over 1,400 square meters of land. Now, I know many investors are looking for simple, low maintenance, tenant ready properties, but obviously properties of this side in markets like this one that might have future zoning changes or have had recent zoning changes could be incredible for the astute investor that not just picks up a great home and fixes it up, but maybe picks up a subdivision or a duplex block at the same time for that future or longer term value. Now, the cool thing about Brisbane being such a big city and having the Sunshine Coast on one side and the Gold Coast on the other side is it's not just a city that is growing, but it is surrounded by some of the world's and Australia's most beautiful locations. The fact that it's sunny and beautiful and has such an incredible lifestyle is just one of the driving factors up here, on top of the incredible population growth, job growth, lack of supply, and the coming Olympic Games. I think while some of these suburbs have gone on an absolute tear in the last 12 months, there is plenty of incredible value for you investors out there or homeowners out there with budgets in the 700K range through to about the $2 million range to capitalize not just on an incredible coming year in Brisbane, but a long-term future of performance. G'day guys, my name's Ben and I'm the director here at Pumped on Property, and I just want to say a massive thank you for watching our content today. Now, if you're thinking about buying an investment property in the next 3 to 12 months, then the team and I would love to offer you a one-on-one strategy session. In that session, we can talk about exactly where you are right now, where you'd like to be longer term, and we can deeply educate you on the Australian market. And then you can take that information and go and absolutely smash it on your own, or potentially become one of the small number of clients that we work with each week. To book your session, all you have to do is go to www.pumpedonproperty.com and click that book your free strategy session button. But either way, we wish you all the best on your journey as an investor to financial freedom.